Hi everyone, welcome back to Crochet Rocks. Tracy here, and a little while ago I did a Home Bargains yarn unboxing, show and tell, whatever you want to call it, review. And I remarked on the fact that some of the balls seemed quite fat and some of them seemed kind of a bit flimsy. So if you put them side by side, it does look like they are quite different. So I said, a long time ago, I had done this with Poundland, where I had weighed the balls and see what was happening. And because one of them seemed really, really big. And it just turned out that one had 70 odd grams in it. So the rest were all fine. So I'm going to give this a go again. And I've zeroed out my my scales. I did have a problem earlier, it wouldn't work, so hopefully it will stay the course. Oh, we'll see. Let's see. I did rub the batteries. Yep, here we go. So if we put our first one on, now remember there is a yarn band involved here, 49 grams. So this one with a yarn band that does weigh a little bit is underweight. Funnily enough, it's the fat one, which I thought looked like it might be bigger. 50 grams. Remember, we've got the band that does weigh something. So 52, that one would be fine by the time you take the weight of the band. And I know that because I send off yarn all over the place, so I know about putting little bits of pieces in parcels. 54, now those were the ones that looked really flimsy, like they didn't have enough in. That's interesting, isn't it? It's actually heavier. 53, 52. So most of them so far have not been too bad. We had one that was definitely a little underweight and a couple that were 50 and a bit borderline. 52, we're getting there. 54. So far none of them are drastically over. 54 is pretty good. Let's get some more out. With the Poundland one that day, I remember I had one that was 75, which was the one that sparked the question as to why are they so drastically different. Let's weigh them. 52. Most of them are fine. We've just had one, I'd say, that was a definite underweight for sure, and two that are a little iffy. 54, 53. So these ones that are over possibly make up for it, but that's not good if you're the person buying the underweight ones and you haven't got others that make up for it. So I wonder what quality control they do have in place to make sure that you... Whoa, 55. So this is the last of these ones that I'm getting out now. So the spotty ones that look like they were the most fat balls, if you like, that looked like they were the heaviest, turned out to be the least heaviest. And the stripy ones, we've got a 50 again, so let's do it, shall we? Take the band off. 49. So the bands do weigh a gram, so all of the ones that weigh 50 are slightly under. Now these are the 100 grams. Let's see what we're getting. 106. This yarn band will weigh more. 103, so that's not bad. So we know that band weighs 3 grams. 104, so just in the tolerance there, one over. So there you go. That is the weighing of the Home Bargains yarn. So there's quite a few there then that are, if they're on the 50 mark, are really like underweight, because the yarn band is a gram for those little ones, but most of them are over. So that's not too bad, really, I suppose. What's your thoughts on that? Like I said, if you're unlucky enough to get the pack that weighs 50, 49 and 50, all three of yours are underweight. Which, it's tiny amounts, not going to make a great deal of difference. But if you're playing yarn chicken, perhaps it does. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on it? Good, bad, indifferent? But it's an interesting thing anyway. It's only when you've got quite a few and you weigh them that you can really kind of see these results. But the first time I ever did this was on one of my yarn chats in the morning. And I had one of my Poundland balls that was enormous compared to the others. And it made me feel like perhaps most of the others were underweight. Well, out of the whole batch, just one was. But I didn't think at the time about how much the yarn band would weigh, because I didn't have a shop and I wasn't used to the fact that if I put a little bit of tape on the parcel or put in a business card, it really does alter the weight. And, I know that now. And I always put goodies in my parcel, so if I can judge how much weight it's going to be, then everything is fine. But it didn't occur to me back then about the yarn bands, so some of them could have been quite underweight because they were all kind of borderline. Well, some of them were. Only one or two. See, I couldn't really complain because I had one that was 75 grams. It was meant to be a 50-gram ball. But it is quite interesting, I guess. With these smaller companies that give you discounted yarn, I guess you can't really grumble at the prices that they're charging. But it's interesting to do a weights and measures now and then just to see if everything is really up to scratch. Bear with me a second. That's better. I just needed to get my chair. So I'd like to hear from you. If you're in the UK and you use this yarn, whether it's this particular one or their previous yarns that they've had at Home Bargains, what do you think to the made up quality of it? I don't really. I've had it in my shop before, not my shop, but my YouTube channel. I've shown it, but I haven't really made anything with it. I think there was one pastel one, like there was a pastel rainbow of this one, and I used it to edge a blanket, because when you get this kind of variegated pattern, sometimes I like to edge a project with it, because it will give a nice kind of finish to the edging. So that's all I've done with it. And I don't know if the previous stuff was this one, because this is Sarah Ashford yarn. I've never heard of this. And this first time I've been in Home Bargains since long before the pandemic, when I haven't really been in there since. So I decided to have a little look at the yarn. But if you've used it and properly made stuff with it, washed it and everything, I'd like to hear from you to see how this actually does fare, because with shops like Poundland and B&M selling yarn that they've put up their prices, this one is now the cheapest place to go in the UK, I think, for yarn. Wilko do yarn as well. Theirs is fairly reasonable, but it tends to be £2.50-ish a ball, which this is a lot cheaper than that. You get 3 in a pack of this, and it's very, very reasonable. So it's interesting to see how this one fares and works up compared to like Poundland or B&M, which are the other sort of discounted yarn outlets. They're very limited in their choices. They don't always have the one you want in store, because mainly they sell bits of everything, and it's not their kind of main line. So you're lucky to find, and I've seen on Facebook people saying that their local Poundlands have very little yarn in, and I think that's because they put their prices up and most people have voted with their feet and gone somewhere like Home Bargains. So let me know what you think. Have you used it? Has it washed up well? Is it nice to work with? And we'll sort of maybe do a little update when we get all the info back. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.